We'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
2 on and 2 out. First pitch swinging, line drive, base hit into left field. That will get Manny Machado home with the first run of the day. Sheets on his way to third. Castellanos standing at second. And the Padres ahead 1-0 here in the fourth.
Padres take the early lead. They tack on plenty, and the pitching is the story here tonight as the Padres win it in Pittsburgh. Final score in this series opener against the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Padres 5 and the Pirates 0. Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. A lot to do on our postgame coverage. We'll go back to PNC Park in Pittsburgh, hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We have all the radio highlights for you, full out-of-town scoreboard, your phone calls, and much, much more. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, with epic SoCal views, a full bar, and poolside bites, Starlight Pool at Jamul Casino Resort is pool season perfected, and day passes are available. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Well, a lot to really, really like about this win, as the Padres have now won 3 in a row, 4 of their last 5, and for the first time this season, the Padres are 500 at 5-5. What a difference a few days make, right? You're thinking the way this road trip started, they lose on Friday in Boston. You're now sitting at 2-5. Well, the Padres with a couple of really gutsy wins at Fenway Saturday and Sunday. And this was, I don't want to say an easy win tonight, but this was sort of on the Padres side of things, just a very easy, simple, well-played, well-defended, well-pitched win. It starts with the pitching today. German Marquez, in his second start as a Padre, was so much better tonight. Did a great job against the Pirates offense and Pirates team that came in playing really well. We talked about it a ton pregame today. This is a Pirates team that came in 6-3, that had won 5 in a row, that was hitting a lot of home runs, whose starting rotation had been really, really good so far this season. And the Padres flipped a lot of that upside down today when you think about what they did pitching-wise. A 7-hit shutout combined. 5 scoreless innings from Marquez, 2 scoreless innings out of the pen from Ron Marinaccio, and 2 scoreless innings from David Morgan. We said pregame that this may be a day bullpen-wise where the Padres would have to get a little creative because you had Mason Miller throwing 2 consecutive days in Boston. You had Jeremiah Estrada also pitching on Saturday and Sunday, 2 straight days in Boston. And you felt like pretty good chance they'd want to stay away from those guys. So they made it a situation where, A, it wasn't a super close game in the final couple of innings, and also where those guys did a great job. Again, a combined 7-hit shutout between Marquez, Marinaccio, and Morgan. 3 M's, Marquez, Marinaccio, and Morgan. So they did a great job. The story of this game, I think, starts with the pitching. The other nice story from this game, first time this season, after the Padres had 12 hits yesterday, where they've had 10 or more hits in 2 consecutive games. 12 hits yesterday, 11 hits here today. It wasn't an explosive offensive night. Padres didn't hit a home run in this game. I understand that, but you look up and down the lineup, they just had good contributions up and down the lineup. Ramon Laureano had an RBI double. Jackson Merrill had a double with an RBI. Manny Machado had a base hit in this game. Xander had a couple of hits. Nick Castellanos, who, by the way, has had a really good couple of days, both in Boston and Pittsburgh, he had 2 hits, including an RBI double. Freddie Fermin had a good day, 2 hits and a couple of runs scored. Jake Cronenworth, 2 hits, including an RBI hit. So up and down the lineup today, those 11 hits really spread out. And it feels like when this Padres offense, the last 2 to 3 seasons, I'll even throw 2024 in there in a sense, and that offense was really good in 24. When they're at their best, yes, you want them to hit home runs, but it often has looked like this. It's been a pass the baton type of offense, and that's a way to get it done. And 5 runs today was plenty. The pitching made it stand up. And I'll give you just a quick thought on the Pirate side of things before we go to break, and we'll get to our radio highlights, all that good stuff. I got to tell you, what a sloppy game from the Pirates today. Again, I was singing the Pirates' praises in the pregame, how good they've been, how good their starting pitching has been. And this could be a dangerous team in the National League when you look at the young talent and the good starting pitching and some of the veterans. And certainly I don't take all that back after one chilly night at home in Pittsburgh. But man, walks came back to bite their pitching in Bubba Chandler tonight. Base running wise, I mean, they ran into a couple of outs in this game. The early out that O'Hearn, not really his fault, ran into at home plate, that took a lot of momentum out of that inning against German Marquez. And then defensively, there were miscues. So it was a sloppy game from a Pirates standpoint. It was a chilly night. You know, you're also looking at a crowd of just over 8,000 for a team that's playing well. I know it was cold, but you know, I was kind of looking at the telecast as I'm listening on the radio and following the game and going, man, kind of feel like you wish there were more people there for a team that's pretty exciting and playing well. Albeit, I know it was cold. I'm not trying to get on the Pirates fans, but I just, that was something that stood out to me in this game of a team that was playing really well. And it was messy tonight for the Pirates in a number of respects. But the Padres take full advantage. They win it 5-0 against the Pirates here tonight, win a 3rd in a row. Now 4 wins in their last 5 games. And the Padres, again, are at 500 for the first time this season at an even record of 5-5. When we come back, all the radio highlights for you. We'll go back to PNC Park, hear from Craig Stammen. Much more to do on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score at PNC Park in Pittsburgh tonight: Padres 5 and the Pirates nothing. As the Padres improved to 5-5, they've won 3 in a row, 4 out of their last 5 games. Pirates see their 5-game win streak come to an end here tonight as they drop to 6-4. We'll head back to PNC Park, hear from Craig Stammen in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's recap how this one went down in the Berg.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Both starting pitchers were solid early on, albeit working out of some trouble after a 1-2-3 inning to begin the night for right-hander Bubba Chandler. He stranded 2 on base in a scoreless second. Padres starter German Marquez also pitched a 1-2-3 first inning for the Padres. He then dealt with a couple of base runners in the second, got helped out by some really bad base running from the Pirates, and he got out of the jam, a scoreless inning. We still had a 0-0 game. In the top of the 4th inning, Padres put 2 on base against Chandler. There were 2 outs with Nick Castellanos at the dish.
2 on and 2 out. First pitch swinging, line drive, base hit into left field. That will get Manny Machado home with the first run of the day. Sheets on his way to third. Castellanos standing at second. And the Padres ahead 1-0 here in the 4th.
So the Padres had a 1-0 lead after 4. They got something going again in the top of the 5th inning. There were runners on first and second, 1 down for Jackson Merrill.
1-0 Padres. Jackson swings at the first pitch, sends it in the air to left center field. Long run Reynolds into the gap. Still going back, reaches out, can't make the catch. It hits on the warning track, bounces over the wall. Laureano will come in to score on the rulebook double to make it 2-0.
Now, we talked about that shaky defense from the Pirates today. That seemed like a catchable ball for Brian Reynolds in deep left field. Could not get it. Padres would take it. RBI double for Merrill. Padres got another run on a ground out for Manny Machado. RBI for Manny. And the Padres had a 3-0 lead through 5. Meanwhile, the other big story became German Marquez. He was really solid tonight. 5 scoreless innings, 6 hits allowed. He struck out 4, walked 1, 92 pitches. He left in line for the win. Padres then put together a 2-out rally against Pirates reliever Johan Ramirez in the 6th inning. Freddie Fermin hit a 2-out double. Jake Cronenworth was next.
2-1. Cronenworth hits it in the air, deep down the right field line, towards the big wall, and off the base of the wall. Fermin will come in to score. Cronenworth at his second base. It's an RBI double, and the Padre lead is now 4-0.
Padres bullpen took over in the 6th inning. Ron Marinaccio tossing a scoreless bottom of the 6th. He did the same in the 7th. Padres still led 4-0. Going to the 8th inning, a runner on base for Ramon Laureano.
Here's Laureano, first pitch swinging, in the air up the right field line, towards the corner. That's a fair ball up against the base of the wall. Fermin is at third. He's being waved. The throw went to second, and Fermin will come in to score. The Padre lead is 5-0.
So Ramon Laureano, an RBI double. Padres with a comfortable 5-0 lead, and David Morgan would do the rest. A scoreless bottom of the 8th inning. He did issue a 1-out walk in the 9th inning, but Morgan put on the finishing touch.
Sheets now backs up behind Horwitz. He does not run. Mangum tries to bunt for a hit. It goes right back to Morgan. Pitcher fires to first in time, and the ball game's over. Padres have shut out the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-0. They have won 3 in a row. 4 out of their last 5, and they have ended the Pirates' 5-game winning streak.
A very, very nice, clean win for the Padres in Pittsburgh tonight. Final score again, Padres 5 and the Pirates nothing. Padres 5 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. Pirates no runs, 7 hits, and no errors. The Padres improved to 5-5. Pirates dropped to 6-4. German Marquez picks up his first win as a Padre. Bubba Chandler dealt his first loss of the season, and the Padres again snapped that 5-game win streak for the Pirates. Padres have now won 3 in a row, and 4 out of their last 5 games. Also, the second shutout win in 10 games for the Padres this season. So all in all, offense good, pitching was stellar, defense good, base running good, and Pirates didn't do a whole lot good here tonight. Padres took full advantage. When we return, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen as the Padres win it tonight 5-0 in this series opener in Pittsburgh. More after this on the Padres Radio Network.
I got 7 women on
Our Jamul
my
Casino
mind.
Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Looking at the final score today, Padres 5 and the Pirates nothing, as the Padres have won 3 in a row. They'll try to make it a second consecutive series win tomorrow in the middle game of this 3-game set in Pittsburgh, although it's going to be a tough customer on the other side on the mound. Paul Skeens on the mound for the Pirates tomorrow. Mitch Keller, who's pretty good as well, pitching the series finale for Pittsburgh. But Padres doing what they had to do here tonight, pick up a very nice, well-pitched, well-defended, and I don't know if well-hit would be the way I'd say it, but a nice offensive performance tonight as well for the Padres as they put together their second shutout win of the season. German Marquez, very good in this game, 5 scoreless innings, much, much better than his Padres debut. Bullpen was great as well. Ron Marinaccio, 2 scoreless innings out of the pen. David Morgan, 2 scoreless innings out of the pen to finish the job. And we said it in the opening segment, offensively, up and down the lineup, contributions all over the place. 11 hits in this game for the Padres. Padres, for the first time this season, have back-to-back games with 10 or more hits. So the offense starting to percolate a little bit, which also was great to see. Let's go back to PNC Park in Pittsburgh and hear from Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in a manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Yeah, he got that breaking ball going. Handled the lefties early pretty well, and then got through some traffic there, a couple innings. Play that kind of went our way, getting the guy out at home. And they, base running, messing around, the ball going every which way. So a couple breaks went his way, and then he finished strong too. So got that breaking ball going. That's key for one of him doing well.
In addition to him being sharper, being a veteran, he was in trouble sometimes. But how do you think that played in? That Marquez knows what he's doing out there.
Yeah, that certainly helps. Him being a 10-year vet in the big leagues and having been an ace of the staff, is being left out there in those moments to get those outs and get his team a win. So he's in a little bit different situation with us, a little shorter leash probably, but we kind of feel good about him in those situations because we know he's been there, done that, and he's capable of making good pitches. And I think what we've seen is when he gets on a roll, he's pretty good and we can hang with him. And then the other way is when he's struggling, it's just not his day.
When you get the contributions you got from the bottom 3 in your lineup, 2 hits apiece for each of those guys, it kind of goes without saying, but what does that do to kind of maybe ease the burden on just everyone else and everything else on offense?
Yeah, we talked about our lineup, scoring runs, 1 through 9, and it being a collective group effort to score runs and not just, individuals trying to have great games, but how can they have a great game together as a 1 through 9? And today was indicative of that. Even though guys not getting hits, they were still working good at bats, making the pitcher a little tired, making him work, fouling pitches off, and sticking to the game plan. And, all the more pitches we all see, you can see the second time we went through the lineup, we had much better at bats, and third time even better. So, it's just great to see everybody collectively buying into a plan and then executing it.
Kind of on the same page then, the team-wide collective effort to get the efforts you did from the guys in the bullpen tonight. What can that do in terms of what the last couple of days were, and also in terms of what
another thing that we talked about all through spring training is how deep our bullpen is and how we feel comfortable with almost everybody that we bring into the game. And a 3-0 game, bringing in Ron Marinaccio, and then finishing with David Morgan and those guys putting up zeros and finishing the shutout. We just trust every guy in our bullpen. We try to set them up with good matchups. Today, the rest of the guys kind of handled the load yesterday with the short start. And those guys had to pick up those guys to keep them fresh for the next day. So, the bullpen's the same thing. They work together. They're their own little team out there, and they keep each other healthy. They keep each other fresh. And today was a great example of that.
For Marquez, was the difference with the breaking ball, was it really just kind of his ability to locate it and put it where he wanted tonight?
Yeah. I think early we saw him spike a couple like he did in the previous start. And then all of a sudden, the more he threw it, the more he kind of found the feeling for it, for throwing for a strike, and then being able to throw it in the dirt. And then he had a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to go with it too. That doesn't hurt. Throwing a few sinkers and getting some ground balls, getting some broken bats. I think what we saw today, that's who he is, and that's how he's going to have success. And the more that we can practice that, the more that we can work on that in between starts and perfect that, the better off we'll be.
How happy were you to be able to give him the 5th? Yeah, Marinaccio Warman, but he was in trouble, but he got out.
Yeah, exactly. I think, we had the lead, 3-run lead. We wanted to trust him, to show that we had faith in him to get through 5 innings. I know, it's hard to pull a guy who hadn't given up a run, before, getting that W matters to those starting pitchers, being able to, qualify for the win after 5 innings. So, his pitch count was climbing a little bit. That was, another part of it, but his effectiveness was really good.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 5-0 win for the Padres against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios. Thought Craig was spot on there talking about German Marquez, who was much, much more solid in this game than he was in his Padres debut. That's sort of what you expected from Marquez out of the back end of this rotation. Again, he's a veteran starting pitcher. He's healthy. He's not playing in Colorado anymore, pitching at the altitude. I do think I think you're going to see more this German Marquez than you will see the guy that pitched in his Padres debut that was really up and down. I'm not saying he's going to give you a scoreless outing every time out, but I do think there's the potential that he can be solid towards the back end of this rotation, and hopefully tonight a sign of things to come. And again, it didn't feel like it as you're watching the game, as you're listening to the game, kind of the vibe in Pittsburgh tonight. I didn't feel like it, but this is a Pirates team offensively that had really been playing well. Again, 5 straight wins coming in. They had 12 home runs through their first 9 games. That was top 5 in the majors. So make no mistake, this offense had been hitting the ball really well. And I think for Marquez to go in there tonight in the cold and shut them down and give the Padres a real good chance to win this game, pretty impressive, and hopefully, again, a sign of things to come for German Marquez. When we come back, speaking of German, we'll hear from Marquez inside the Padres clubhouse. A little bit later, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. If you want to get a phone call in, let me know what you thought about today's game, what you think about how the Padres are playing right now. You can do that at 833-288-0973. Again, phone number to call, 833-288-0973 if you want to chime in. Final score in Pittsburgh, Padres 5 and the Pirates 0 on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score tonight, Padres 5 and the Pirates nothing. If you want to get involved, phone number is always 833-288-0973. Again, 833-288-0973. Our postgame coverage, as always, brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open. Day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. We'll hear from tonight's starting pitcher, the guy who got his first win as a Padre, German Marquez, in just a moment. But first, let's tell you about tonight's Heart of the Order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the Heart of the Order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
1-0 Padres. Jackson swings at the first pitch, sends it in the air to left center field. Long run, Reynolds into the gap. Still going back, reaches out, can't make the catch. It hits on the warning track, bounces over the wall. Laureano will come in to score on the rulebook double to make it 2-0.
Heart of the Order here tonight. You heard there Jackson Merrill, the RBI double in the fifth inning to make it a 2-0 game. But the Heart of the Order here tonight, Merrill had a hit, the RBI double. Machado had a hit, RBI and a run scored. Xander Bogaerts had a couple of hits in this game. So 3, 4, 5 spots combined. 4 hits, 2 RBIs, a run scored for a second straight game. Very productive night for a lot of the core players on this team. Fernando had a quiet night. He did walk, score a run, but a second consecutive game where Merrill, Machado, and Bogaerts have all been really, really productive. And I think no coincidence, those guys being a little bit more productive. You can even point to Saturday with Tatis having the huge double off Chapman in the 9th inning. I don't think there's any coincidence that you've had more production from the middle of the lineup after it was the 0 for 19 for the top 5 of the lineup on Friday in the loss. I don't think there's any coincidence that as they've played better, Padres have now won the last 3 games. Certainly a nice night for the heart of the lineup. Merrill, Machado, and Bogaerts, again, 4 hits, a run scored, and 2 RBIs between them. Final score here tonight, Padres 5 and the Pirates nothing. Let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Relief pitcher of the game really could go 2 ways with this because both guys who came out of the bullpen were really good. Ron Marinaccio, 2 scoreless innings in the 6th and 7th. David Morgan, who continues to put together a great start to his sophomore season, 2 scoreless innings in the 8th and 9th. So it's really like take your pick with these 2 tonight. We'll give it to Ron Marinaccio. He dealt with a little bit of a smaller lead when he came in the bottom half of the 6th inning. He did come in. It was 4-0, but did a good job. 2 scoreless innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, struck out 1. Marinaccio now a 2.57 ERA in the early part of this season through 4 appearances. David Morgan still yet to be charged with a run in his early part of the season. 7 innings, no runs on 5 hits, still a 0 ERA for Morgan. So he continues his good work. And look, it's going to be really, really, really interesting to see what happens when Jason Adam comes back, which could be very soon, as in during this series in Pittsburgh, or certainly you would expect it at this point during the homestand, the series against the Rockies coming up starting on Thursday, because Jason Adam last couple of days pitched back-to-back days for El Paso. That seemed to be sort of the final hurdle for Adam. It certainly is sounding like, based on what the Padres are saying, and Craig Stammen is saying, like it's going to be very soon, and potentially in the next couple of days. But it is going to be very, very fascinating to see what they do for the corresponding move, because you don't have a ton of options. To me, your options are either Marinaccio has to get DFA'd because he's out of options, which would be tough because he's been good. And I think he could be a really valuable piece for your bullpen throughout the year. Or you would have to take a Bradley Rodriguez, who's been really good. And my goodness, that's tough to think about him going down and not being in this bullpen. but he is a guy who has options and is young, and you can bring him back up pretty quickly. And it's going to be very tough. I do not know what way they're going to go with that. I really, really don't. It's going to be tough as far as the decision of what the corresponding move is going to be when Jason Adam comes back. So that's something just to keep in the back of your mind as we get ready for Adam to come back, because I put it this way. I don't know that whoever is taken off the roster, I don't know that it's going to be a super popular decision any way it goes. I think they're in a really tough spot. And when Yuki Matsui's ready to come back, we've talked about this for weeks going back to spring training. When guys were going to come back, if guys like Marinaccio and Rodriguez pitched well, Padres were going to be in a really interesting spot when these guys came back. So I suppose it's a good problem, quote unquote, to have, but it is something to think about. And Ron Marinaccio, 2 scoreless innings out of the bullpen here tonight in this 5-0 win. Again, German Marquez, really good in this game. 5 scoreless innings, 6 hits allowed, struck out 4, walked 1 on a grand total of 92 pitches, picks up his first win as a Padre, improves to 1-1 on the season. German Marquez spoke with the media inside the clubhouse moments ago.
How nice was it to feel like the curveball was back and to be able to execute like that tonight?
I mean, I feel I was competing today, and I was trying, to find a way to throw my curveball today. But I feel like, I made a, good pitch and good situation. And yeah.
What was the difference with the curveball? Like how well you were able to locate it today?
Yeah. For, put away pitch, it was like, I was hanging out a little bit, but I need to work, for strike pitch, throwing the dirt.
Yeah, for a long time, you were like number one guy, the Rockies. You were out there battling 6th, 7th inning. You got in some trouble tonight. How much are you able to draw on your experience to get through those?
Good, man. Good. I always, my whole career, I've been competing, and I feel like tonight was a lot competing. I like it.
You've had a lot of success here. What do you like about pitching here?
Man, I don't know. I don't know about here, but I've been throwing good games here.
Keep the mound, the backdrop.
I don't know. But yeah.
How good it feel to get the win? Did you know it had been a while?
Yeah, it's been a while, man, and it's good feel. And we have to keep rolling.
When Ramon caught that ball to end the 5th, what was that feeling like? You got out.
Yeah, it was like we had this game.
That was German Marquez inside the Padres clubhouse earlier. You heard the questions and the answers there about his success against the Pittsburgh Pirates. How about this? We talked about a pregame, how good he's been against the Pirates in his career. With his 5 scoreless innings tonight, he improved to a career ERA of 1.71 in 8 career starts against the Pirates. That's now almost 53 innings, 52 2/3, 53 innings essentially against the Pirates in his career, some of which came in Colorado at the altitude. He's got a 1.71 ERA against them. So it has been a remarkable run for German Marquez against the Pirates in particular. There's something about the Pirates. There's something about pitching at PNC Park, but he was once again really, really good tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So good stuff for German Marquez. Picks up a win, and the Padres win it, most importantly, 5-0 here tonight. Phone number, as always, 833-288-0973. When we come back, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our play of the game. We'll get you ready for the middle game of this series in Pittsburgh. All that and more coming up next. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Padres 5 and the Pirates nothing as the Padres win a third in a row. They improved to 5-5 to 500 for the first time this season. And the Padres have also won 4 out of their last 5 games. Pirates see their 5-game win streak come to an end here tonight. Middle game of this 3-game series tomorrow at 3:40 p.m. We'll preview the middle game of this series in just a little bit. Right now, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a number of finals already tonight. Orioles beat the White Sox in Chicago 2-1. Dodgers in a World Series rematch beat the Blue Jays in that series opener in Toronto 14-2. Nationals beat the Cardinals 9-6 in DC. Brewers beat the Red Sox 8-6 at Fenway. Red Sox, they are now 2-8 to begin the season. Reds beat the Marlins in Miami 2-0. Royals beat the Guardians in Cleveland 4-2. Rays earlier today beat the Cubs 6-4 in the return to Tropicana Field in Tampa. Games going on right now. Tigers trailing the Twins 5-3 in Minnesota in the 8th inning. Rangers 2, Mariners 1 in Arlington in the 8th inning. Rockies lead the Astros 8-4 in the 6th inning in Colorado. Braves and the Angels tied at 1 in Anaheim in the 4th inning. And finally, Phillies and the Giants in the 3rd in San Francisco. They are scoreless at Oracle Park. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Monday. Padres win it in Pittsburgh 5-0. Let's hear tonight's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
2-1. Cronenworth hits it in the air, deep down the right field line, towards the big wall, and off the base of the wall. Vermin will come in to score. Cronenworth at his second base. It's an RBI double, and the Padre lead is now 4-0.
Why not the RBI double by Jake Cronenworth in the 6th inning? Tonight's play of the game selected by Kyle Ovenshire. I gave Kyle the ability to select our play of the game tonight because I didn't know. There were a bunch of different RBI hits. Padres never trailed in this game, and then Kyle makes a good selection. Felt like the Padres needed a little bit more breathing room in this game, up 3-0. Jake provided it with the RBI double in the 8th inning. Ramon Laureano made it 5-0 with his RBI double, and I'll tell you why. There was a point in this game, I think you're looking at it, Padres are leading 3-0. They've got a comfortable lead with 3 runs, and you're getting towards the later part of the game. But it was in the back of my mind, and I talked about it pregame today. Mason Miller had pitched 2 straight days. Jeremiah Estrada had pitched 2 straight days. And you're sort of thinking, a few more runs here would be nice. Take a little pressure off the bullpen the rest of the way. And Cronenworth and Laureano with a couple of RBI doubles did do that tonight. So nice pick by Kyle Ovenshire. I'm debating whether I should bring this up here on the air. Quickly before we preview tomorrow's game. I'm doing it. I've been debating whether I should be giving all my great studio coordinators, and nobody's new this year. Kyle, Jeff Hamby, Nick DiNucci, everybody is returning. So I know these guys very well now. I've been debating, do I give these guys their own nicknames in the sign-off? And for Kyle Ovenshire, his name is spelled Ovenshire. So the start of his name is Oven, but we pronounce it Ovenshire. Well, not we. His name is pronounced Ovenshire. And I've been thinking, I call him behind the scenes the heater because, oven, I tell him to preheat before we go in the studio. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to give him his official nickname or not, but it's being workshopped right now. I need everybody to have nicknames, and I think I got Kyle's. Hamby working on it. Nick DiNucci. It's a tough one. Not sure about Nick yet. But if you hear me in one of these sign-offs start sounding wacky with the nicknames, that's why. I'm working on it. All right. Taking a look ahead to tomorrow. My goodness, time for us to get off the air. All right, taking a look ahead to tomorrow. Middle game of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Pirates, as the Padres will go for a 4th consecutive win. First pitch tomorrow at 3:40 p.m. here on the West Coast, same time as today. And we've got a dandy of a pitching matchup tomorrow. Right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres and right-hander Paul Skeens on the mound for the Pirates. The first time the Padres will have ever faced Paul Skeens. Did not happen in 2024, did not happen in 2025, just the way it worked out with how the Pirates rotation fell out. And now it's happening in 2026. It will be Paul Skeens facing the Padres for the first time in his career tomorrow. Again, first pitch at 3:40, and our pregame coverage will begin at 2:40. Taking a look at the final totals here today for the Padres. 5 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. They left 10 on base. For the Pirates, no runs, 7 hits, no errors. They left 9. Winning pitcher tonight, German Marquez, who improves to 1-1. Losing pitcher was Bubba Chandler, who drops to 0-1. Time of game, 2 hours and 53 minutes in the crowd at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 8,446. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 3:40 p.m. here in San Diego. Pregame coverage begins at 2:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Kyle Ovenshire, no nickname yet, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score here today, the San Diego Padres 5 and the Pittsburgh Pirates 0. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.